Hello, everyone, and welcome to Street Fight's new interview series with local digital marketing innovators and speakers for upcoming conferences. And today we actually have both. So, our guest today is Verve VP and Creative Director and all around thought leader for location targeted mobile advertising, Walt Gear. So, Walt, welcome and thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Sure. Walt, we've talked about this stuff in the past, and you and I could geek out about this stuff all day long.
Oh yeah.
But we're keeping these interviews kind of short and focused. So, to kick things off, I would love to hear about what you're working on and doing and seeing these days in the world of location-based ad targeting, and what's like one big insight that can be gleaned for Street Fight audience. It could be best practices or areas of unmet opportunity that you're observing, or the mistakes that you're seeing a lot of people make. So what's kind of like one big thing you're seeing?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think that, what I've really been trying to work on, really focus a lot on is really trying to find smarter and more effective ways to actually drive interaction and, of course, engagement with consumers. This really means gaining a greater understanding of how, when, and why someone actually interacts with brands, but also how someone actually interacts with their mobile device, right? So when they use it, how they use it, why they use it. And I think that by understanding these three things, we can really have a greater understanding of how to actually build for them. So for me, it's about, again, yes, like finding smarter ways to engage with them. And by doing that through advertising. And I think that the big thing, and I talk about this a lot every time I speak, the big thing that's really missing is the fact that people are doing one of two things, right? They're trying to build these big, flashy creatives, high impact creatives, and then they're selling them against audiences. And what happens is you have this very intrusive ad experiences.
Yeah.
But then you have other companies on mobile devices who are thinking about trying to do this location-based stuff where it's just about understanding where an individual might be at that point in time, right? Geofencing, let's say, and not really caring about the creative. And I think where, the rubber should meet the road is how you actually bring those two together. So really what we've been trying to focus on doing in a very big way is when you understand how those individuals are engaging, you build solutions that matter for them and then deliver it to them when it matters. And then when you combine this high impact opportunities and this very specific location-based targeting, you're able to then truly create opportunities that are more than ads, but are more really experiences.
Yeah, I love that. I think that approach takes a more multi-dimensional view of the just kind of rich mosaic of factors that create what we know of as relevance. And I think often people are looking at like time of day or like geofence, as you said, but it goes so much further beyond that with other factors like calls to action and the proper creative and all that. And I think that there are a lot of proof points in what Verve is actually doing and walking the walk. So I love your thoughts on that. So that leads
Thank
into
you.
the next question, which is, for the Street Fight Summit coming up November 28th through 30th in Vegas, you're actually on the program as one of the speakers. So what are you kind of most excited to see or to hear or to speak
Yeah.
about at the show?
Um, I'm really excited to actually see some of the other companies, right? What are some of their takes on the space? What 2018 has in store for them? Actually, it's funny. A book that I probably read once a month. So definitely one of my favorite books is actually called "It's Not How Good You Are, It's How Good You Want to Be." It's actually by Paul Arden. He's the founder of Saatchi and Saatchi. Most of us know that. In the book, he made this comment that just resonates so much with me. And I think it speaks in volumes about our industry in this space, especially now, right? He says, don't covet your ideas, give away everything you know, and more will come back to you. And the problem, he was saying, is that with hoarding is you end up living off your resources, right? And eventually you become stale. And I think that when we look at this space, so many people do that, right? They have these walled off gardens where it's hard to innovate. And I think that in these type of opportunities or these spaces and conferences, I think we should be a little more freely with how we actually speak openly about what we're working on, things that we're doing, because we're not going to make advertising better on these devices if we're not working together, right? And that means understanding creative better. That means understanding data better. That means understanding, all that type of stuff. So I'm really excited to just hear people's positioning and kind of thoughts on this space and what they're really doing to try to drive that engagement on these powerful devices. And in terms of myself, I'm really just excited to give people a completely different look at creative, right? And show people that great creative actually does matter a big deal. And it's half of the story.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think a lot of that is very particular and specific in terms of kind of things that are endemic to local location targeting, mobile
Yep.
advertising, but also a lot of the things you just said are like universal life and business lessons that I think
Oh
is
yeah.
very interesting. So I want to thank you for that. We're going to have to end it there. That's all the time we
Thank
have.
you.
But yeah, thanks, Walt, for joining us.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and thanks all of you for listening and watching, and stay tuned for more interviews and published material and market coverage and insights from Street Fight. You can find out more about Street Fight Summit by following the banners on the Street Fight homepage, or you can actually go directly to the URL listed on this screen. Again, that's November 28th through 30th in Las Vegas. So we hope to see you there. So I'm Mike Bullen. Thanks for watching.